Hey, Matt.
Hey, Phil.
Something pretty big happened over the past week. I'd just like to bring the tone down a little here.
Tell me all about it.
Here on TLDR, we like to have a laugh. We like to have a giggle. But the laughter sort of died, I think, the past week. When Joan Rivers kicked the bucket, croaked it, went and fell over and died. I think her heart exploded.
It's been coming for a while, though, hasn't it? She's 81.
Oh, yeah.
And she toured all the time. I nearly went and saw her last year in London.
Missed out.
But tickets were 75 quid, so I
oh, okay,
absolutely
no.
definitely not.
No. Even though you're dead, Joan, don't take
75 quid.
Don't rob people.
Get to fuck. 75 quid. It's the same with Jackie Mason. I wanted to go and see him. 80 quid his tickets were.
You wouldn't have got his comedy there. It'd be like,
hey, Gentiles.
Well, you know what it's like to be a Jew, right?
And the Jewish husband, he never does anything if he's not in court. He's in his own house. He's in the wrong place. His wife is like, hey, don't sit over there. Don't sit over there. That place for visitors. This place for visitors.
If you're a Jew, why don't you be the guest and just fuck the wife? Don't get married to the person you love. Just be a friend of the family.
Jackie Mason, to me, is Rabbi Kristofsky.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like all he is.
Krusty's dad from The Simpsons.
Strange.
Joan Rivers is Joan Rivers from Futurama to me.
I was thinking about it the other day. What do I know Joan Rivers from other than being Joan Rivers?
Yeah, that's it for our generation.
Because her entire career I'm Joan Rivers and I have had so much plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And I'm a sort of abrasive comedian.
This is the thing. This is why I suppose I opened this little segment with being a facetious cunt. But the reason that I don't be like, oh, well, it is quite sad and sombre, is because I don't feel that, and I feel like if I pretended I did, it would be quite disrespectful. Because Joan Rivers doesn't mean all that much to me, because I'm just not of the right generation for her to be a big thing for me. Like, if Sarah Silverman had died today, to use female comedians, then that would have more of an impact.
I watched quite a bit of her stand-up. I've seen a couple of them on Netflix.
I've never watched her stand-up. I've seen clips.
It's pretty good. But you have to bear in mind that she's like 70 something when she's doing these.
Yeah.
She got a big break in 65, I think.
How old would she have been?
Well, if she was 80, 33, 30, yeah, born in 33, so she'd be early 30s.
Yeah.
When she got a big break, and she's been on telly for 50 years.
Yeah. I don't know what she looked like.
That's a decent run. Very different, because
I might Google her now and see what she looked like. Do you have that image to pull in your head? Can you picture what she looked like?
Vaguely. I'll have a gander when you look. But she's very open about her plastic surgery and all the things she did. That's her whole.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
she looks completely different.
Yeah, massively, massively different.
Yeah,
that's her whole thing, and that's why. Especially to a lot of comedians and a lot of people who were around then, she is a sort of female pioneer. If you look back to English comedy in the 1960s, I don't know if there were any females.
At least not prevalent or well known. But then I can't name many 60s comedians.
It's all about your Morecambes and your Whites.
Yeah.
But female comics, they just weren't a big thing here until maybe the late 70s, early 80s.
I mean, name a huge British female comic. There aren't many.
Within the realms of Britain, if you look at female comics that have made it, Victoria Wood, Jo Brand, people like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of global success, none of these, they've never played New York.
Well, no, yeah, that's true.
These aren't famous, successful people globally.
That's probably true of male British comedians as well, to a certain extent. Like Lee Evans, Michael McIntyre. These are names that Peter Kay.
Yeah, only comedian, comic fans really know a lot of American English stand-ups.
Well, in England, everyone knows those people. But
yeah, but I mean,
if you go to America, yeah.
I think maybe Eddie Izzard.
Yeah, Eddie Izzard is
played in America.
But he plays in France in French.
Yeah, and in Germany
Germany in German.
He's one of those people. He's a little bit.
Have you watched Hannibal, by the way, the TV series?
No.
It's good. He's in that.
Really?
Yeah.
I really like Eddie Izzard. I think he's very, very funny.
Yeah. He's not very funny in Hannibal.
Well, no, but I mean, in his stand-up is fantastic.
Yeah, I love Eddie Izzard. Has he put anything out recently?
I don't think so.
Anyway, talking of Joan Rivers, though, isn't there a funeral going on now? Literally
I think it
now.
went on today, and people tweeting about it as we speak.
So it's not now then?
I don't think it's right now. People are tweeting about it, but the thing about Joan Rivers is I can only really know of it from sort of historical perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you go, 60s, and she was on Johnny Carson, and that was a big moment for her, and great, and that she did pave a way for all your Silvermans and all these female comics that came after her, and really a lot of just genuine comedy. And there's a lot of people who really, your Seinfelds, your Louis C.K.'s, all these people sort of call her out as a big sort of influence in their work. Yeah. She said some very honest, brutal things at times, I suppose. Talk about her husband's suicide and 9/11 and all that. But she sort of didn't make friends. She wasn't in comedy to make friends, and that's fair enough. That's great, I suppose.
I feel like she is interesting to people of our generation in that she says something about her generation, like what she is a commentary on her generation in a way. I mean, I'm not saying that, I don't mean to say that she's a commentary on her generation. I mean, the thing that she is and like what her career was, you can look at that and see that as reflective of what her generation was like. Like she was like the only real female comedian there.
Well, she was also the anomaly.
She was also the token, like in a way.
Yeah,
she was
I
the
imagine
token female comedian, and like she still leaned heavily on the beauty aspect to the point of getting plastic surgery. Whereas I feel like,
well, in our lifetime, she's done a little bit of stand up. She does tour and does do stand up, but most people know her of our generation for her work on like E! And fashion,
and just cameos and references to her. She's one of those things like
she hosts a TV. Well, she did host a TV show with her daughter on like fashion or E! Or whatever it was for like 6 or 7 years. I mean, we were kids when that started.
But I never watched that. Did you?
No, I've seen it, but
she's
because it's Joan Rivers.
She's one of those people who's like Spock. Everyone knows who Spock is, and everyone knows quite a bit about Spock, but no one knows why they know Spock or where he's from, or like most people have never watched 1960s Star Trek.
I've never watched 1960s.
But you know who Spock is though, don't you?
Yeah.
The guy with the pointy ears and shit.
Leonard Nimoy.
Exactly, yeah. Like that's like Joan Rivers. Like we know who she is from her impact on culture and from cultural references to her.
As a sort of comic fan, she's one of these people that crops up just from time to time, and you'll see like a little clip here. Like I remember they were talking about people who were making jokes of like very serious things. She was one of the first people to do a 9/11 joke, and I was like, oh, isn't she just some old woman? And like looked up, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like, she's never anything more than that. You weren't there when she got her big break. She's the only female to ever host a network chat show.
Yeah.
Ever.
Was she?
Yeah.
She's the only female to ever. She was, or she is now?
Still? No, she was. She only did it for a couple of years. It wasn't very good. But nobody's ever done it since. That's why Johnny Carson never spoke to her again.
Wasn't Oprah network, or is that all cable?
I think that's cable. And then she got her own channel.
She does now, yeah. I don't know, that's all weird. The way TV works in America is
very,
weird.
very different.
We don't have that in England. It's all just, here are the 4 channels that there are.
Yeah.
And then here's Dave.
Until in our lifetime.
Yeah.
I think Channel 5 started in our
launched
lifetime.
in the late 90s.
And now there are like hundreds.
I think Americans might find it funny that we have a channel called Dave.
Dave, yeah.
That's a good. I like the fact that we have a channel called Dave because it
Dave
shows.
+1.
Yeah, shows that British irreverence, the lack of.
It is a very British channel as well.
Austerity, yeah.
I think Americans would be completely lost watching like repeats of
it's funny though. It's ironic because that marks this huge aspect of British culture which is a lack of austerity. Whereas from the outside looking in, you might see British culture as being really austere because of the monarchy and because of the history of Britain and so on. Whereas
in fact it's
like we're marked by this irony and like self-deprecation of like almost everything's stupid, we don't take anything seriously. Like there's no one rioting in the streets for anything ever in Britain.
Yeah, and even when we do, there's almost a sort of, well, look what we're doing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Nudge kind of.
Which I like. To it. I like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dave is a great. I remember when Dave came out, I just watched it endlessly.
Yeah.
Just for days on it. Mock the Week.
Mock the Week. QI. It's all syndications of.
Yeah, a lot of QI.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of QI, a lot of
Would I Lie to You?
Would I
and
Lie to
stuff
You?
like
Yeah,
that.
those sorts of things. Panel shows. I don't know if did I say this to you, and was it on a podcast where I was saying that I don't know why America hasn't taken on the panel show.
Yeah.
Was that in discussion with you?
Well, I believe we've had this conversation at some point in the past.
It just
And
seems
I
like
said,
the
I don't know.
perfect format for America because they're so big into the cult of celebrity. And a panel show is
Just
basically
throw somebody on and go.
Yeah.
Maybe they do. We just don't see them. I don't know. I feel like I'd know about them.
Yeah, I feel like
do.
I know about. We know, like everywhere knows the ins and outs of American culture. Really,
Yeah.
even the things that are very particular to America, you sort of know of.
Well, I mean, take an example is Worst Chefs.
Yeah, Worst Chefs.
I don't
in
think that's
America.
ever been on TV here.
No, but we
But we've
still
just
watched like 2
stumbled on
seasons
it and watched
of it,
all of it and gone, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Bobby
No, it's Worst
Flay,
Cooks in America.
Worst
it's called.
Cooks,
They're not
sorry.
chefs, they're cooks.
Anne Burrell and Bobby Flay.
It's funny because if that was in England, it'd be Bob Flair and Annie Burrell.
Annie Burrell. Hello, Annie.
I feel like we're not taking Joan Rivers seriously.
Right.
It's because we only know her as this tertiary.
Like you were saying a minute ago, I can
Spectacle.
sit here and go, well, you know, she was a pioneer for female comics and comedy in general, and took
Yeah.
the brash, abrasive, honest, unfiltered comedy that she had inside. And you know, she grew up with Carlin and Cosby and all these people, Pryor and Bruce, and her legacy in comedy is undoubted. But I know nothing of it. I know very little about it,
Yeah.
other than the fact she was quite an entertaining person to me.
But I feel like we can offer a unique perspective here because not only are we relatively young, but we're also relatively British. And so, like, the average person listening to this probably won't have heard of, for example, Sarah Millican.
Yeah.
Or, like, I mean, she's... I think, maybe I'm wrong, I vaguely hope that I'm wrong, sort of. But I think she's probably the biggest British comedian working today. Is she?
Female comedian.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, who else is
probably.
there? Joe Brand, but she's
These
not
people
really...
don't do stand-up anymore.
No,
These
she's
are,
a panel show.
yeah, I don't
person.
know. I don't think there are many female. There's a lot of like up and coming female talent that you see on panel shows,
Yeah, yeah.
but none of them are huge.
Yeah, none of. I mean, there are a lot of female comedians working in.
How
Britain,
many do like sell out stand-up
but-
tours?
Yeah, and have their own chat shows. Like Millican has her own chat show, which
The
I didn't
Sarah
know until.
Millican
Like,
television program.
yeah, I didn't know that until like a week ago.
I've never seen it.
I watched like 5 minutes of it.
It's shit.
It wasn't shit. She just doesn't seem fit for the role.
Yeah, I know.
She's not that.
I'm
bubbly
not a huge
personality.
fan.
I like Sarah Millican, but I feel like I'm just not her target audience. So I get every 5th joke. That's what I feel like.
I feel
But
like
the jokes that I do get, I enjoy. She's good.
a lot of female comedians, like that, I'm not the target audience of.
Yeah.
And so I can never really, like the whole, female comedians funny. Yeah, of course they are, but I'm not in the position where I can really be the be-all and end-all of that. I can't be like, well, you're better than she is. I don't know.
But then I feel like it's the responsibility solely of female comedians to either to embrace that and to be like, yeah, we will do comedy to women, directed at women,
Yeah.
or to break free from that and say, no, I'm going to do comedy about fucking coffee and wallpaper. And
Yeah,
just,
that's what you need. That's what good comedy, I feel, is storytelling.
yeah,
with
maybe.
a lot of good jokes in them.
I mean, that is good comedy, but I don't think that's the only valid form.
No, I'm not saying it's the only valid form, but a
Is
lot
that like
of
your favourite
what
form of
works for me. It doesn't have to be, you know.
Have you ever watched Irish Affairs show, This Is Not Happening?
No.
Where it's like, it's filmed somewhere or other. I don't know, it's like live stand-up sets, and it's people telling anecdotes, stand-up comedians telling anecdotes as part of a stand-up set.
Right.
And that's centred around storytelling. Like, there was one with Joey Diaz telling his,
Joey fucking Diaz.
yeah, the time he first took cocaine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the framework of a stand-up comedy set.
That sounds interesting.
And there was Joe Rogan talking about a run-in he had with like a prostitute or something, I can't remember. But it is all basically Joe Rogan and friends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That little Death Squad group.
Yeah, that's the burden of anyone attached to Joe Rogan. Like Irish Affair is always going to be...
Joe Rogan's
of
Irish
Joe Rogan
thing.
fame, yeah. But I feel like Joe Rogan doesn't play up to that and tries to play it down a lot. Like, he recently on his podcast has started to try to not say his own name.
Yeah, he doesn't like saying the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's good. I imagine it's quite a difficult position for him to be in.
Well, I mean, that's all well and good for a little podcast like Joe Rogan Experience, whatever it's called, but for like TLDR, you have to say
Internet Digest.
Yeah, TLDR, the Internet Digest. I'll say it again, TLDR, the Internet Digest. Yes, the best podcast on iTunes.
Easily.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and not say the name of this amazing empire that we've built. That would be an affront to art.
I'll basically be pissing on my own blood, sweat and tears. And
yeah, I'll be shitting on my own mouth.
I don't want to do that.
No.
I've tried it and it's not for me.
It's the logistics that I can't get around, Matt. It's the muscular strain on the pelvis.
I don't want it.
I can't... If I could figure out a way to do it, I'd do it. But
I'd try it, but...
I've tried it 4 or 5 times. Can't make it happen.
It's not for me. Joan Rivers, she'll be missed.
Joan Rivers. Do you want to check the Twitter sphere? See what's going on there?
I've I've pressed the hashtag for Joan Rivers' funeral. It's always weird when comedians die because you get the people going, the world will be a bit less funny. And you get people who are just trying to do, jokes.
I feel like the world is a bit less funny is just one of those stock lines that you can say.
That people use.
Because, I mean, you do need those, to be fair, because sometimes you do feel sad, but you can't put it into words, so you need these stock phrases to pull from.
But when people who are renowned for being funny, and especially someone like Joan Rivers, renowned for being like quite vicious to some people with that comedy, when they die, you get people trying to be like a bit jokey, and it's sort of just, it's like, well, you're not a famous stand-up comedian, so it just comes up. Like,
you're not their friend. You can't call them a cunt now they've died. It's not okay. It's like just because they're a comedian. Celebrities
and friends all took comfort knowing she died doing something she loved, having surgery. It's like, well,
yeah.
You know,
it's a weird one, like, because her profession is telling jokes. You feel like you can send her off by telling jokes.
Please tell me that somebody was at the funeral mercilessly critiquing everybody's outfits as they walked into the synagogue because she used to do a bit of fashion. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, I don't know.
It's nice though.
It's a way of paying your respects to that person. It's like, I imagine all of that is done with the thought of like, oh, she would have liked it if I'd have said this. And so in that sense, it is essentially respectful. So, fine.
Yeah. Most people don't do it to be horrible.
No, I don't think that's the intent, but like, you sort of do have to also realise, well, what if her family members read this or whatever and just don't, they know her as, she worked as a comedian, but she was also just Joan, the cousin, who they've known since she was 20 or whatever. Well, younger than 20.
Some people do it quite nicely, though. Like, I hope God is not wearing socks with his sandals now Joan's around. That's almost like quaint.
Yeah, that's almost like, you can tell your mother, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking out loud here. I'm not like forming an opinion or anything. I don't know. It's a weird one.
But she seemed to have a good funeral. A lot of people turned up.
How many people turned up?
A couple hundred. Completely guessing.
Was the WBC there, Westboro Baptist Church?
I doubt it.
That's right.
I think so. I'm walking outside and can't cross the street because of the massive funeral. Here's some pictures that guy's just tweeted.
That's a weird way to pay your respects, sir. Thank you.
I'm walking outside and can't cross the street. Caz of C-A-Z, cuz of the massive crowd and funeral. # Joan Rivers funeral. Such a strange thing to say.
Yeah. That's not really what the hashtag's for, mate. You're not really, like, joining in there.
It's quite nice to end on that note, though. That poor bastard couldn't cross the road.
I feel very sorry for him.
Kaz of the big funeral.
Yeah. Poor, what's his name?
Nori NYC.
Poor Nori. Do you reckon it's Northwest?
I have a corporate job and care about my online privacy. Find me on Facebook if you know me. I post pics there.
Probably not Northwest.
Upper East Side. Manhattan.
Not Northwest then, no.
Upper East.
UE.
UES. M.
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Mark Ronson, Ghostface Killer. Ooh-wee, that song's called.
Well, thanks for listening to our episode on Joan Rivers passing. Tears were shed in that episode.
Yeah, rest in peace to Joan.
Rip.
Well, of course, you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, where you watch videos. We're there.
YouTube.
Stitcher, a app that you get on your smartphones.
Application.
We're on there, so when you're on your jogs, you can listen to us. Facebook, we often post a lot of links up there. Behind-the-scenes footage of the guys.
Yeah.
Twitter, just hilarious little 140-character sentences.
We'll often do satire on Twitter.
And Instagram, often just dick pics.
Dick pics. It is dick pics at the moment. It's only dick pics, but I think in the future we'll expand.
Anus pics. Next week we'll be doing this all over again.
Yeah, that's it, really, isn't it?
Only bodes really well for the listeners and terribly for us.
You can listen to all of this as one long
big-ass episode. I mean, what are the weekends for if not having a lazy lie-in and listening to your favourite cool cats?
A couple of cool camels.
It's not called Full Epi Saturday for nothing. And we'll be right there to comfort you through your Friday night hangover.
Does that mean I have to release it on Saturday?
You know, Saturday or Sunday.
If I say Full Epi Saturday, maybe hashtag it.
Yeah.
People won't look at the date it was posted. They'll just assume, I've missed it.
Probably on
Saturday.
Yeah. Clever.
Thank you. I'm a marketing genius, so I do things like this for a living.
For more hilarious satire, tune in next week to TLDR.
Oh, goodbye.
Adios.